Anywho, like I was saying, every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. No, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville when he was busy now, hanging a mistletoe Harlington wreath, and they're hanging their stockings. He snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers and nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop and keep Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, knew all those Who girls and boys will wake bright and early. That means at 5:25, they'll rush for their toys and then, oh, the noise. There's one thing he hated. All noise. And they'll fake squeaks and squeals racing around on their wheels. They dance switching tinglers, except Kermit tied onto their heels. They'll blow them. Big horns. They'll tart tinkers, too many cymbals each. They'll blow their hoopers too many horns, and they'll tart bass drums. They'll beat their Selena Zeus like that. They'll beat their bloopers. They'll whack their horns. And they play noisy games like Zuzette Kaze, a roller skate title, lacrosse, croquet, and their gears with noises deluxe on their great big electro cardio blocks. Then the Who's, young and old, doing Cindy Lou Who, will sit down to a feast. And they'll feast, and they'll feast, and they'll feast. They'll feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand the least. And then they'll do something he hated and liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, including Cindy Lou Who, will stand close together when Christmas bells ring. They would stand hand in hand with the ant, and those Who's will start singing. You're right, there's our train. And they'll sing, and they'll sing, and they'll sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas thing, the more. So I'm going to use Kermit as a bookmark for the next page. Okay? This Who Christmas thing, the more the Grinch thought. I must stop this whole thing! Why, for 53.5 years I put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat. And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. He chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, in brackets, there's none to be found. There was none to be found. Did that stop the Grinch? Ha! Did that stop the old Grinch? No. Did that stop the old Grinch? Ha! The Grinch simply said, Grinch, no. Grinch, ha! Not stop the old Grinch? Ha! No. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red or black thread and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks, except 3 of them that he lost, on a ramshackle sleigh. And he hitched up old Max, that's fancy for whistled for him. Then the Grinch said, chop, chop! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the hoopies lay a snoozing their all their windows were dark, quiet snow in the air. No one knew who was there. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop number 1, the old Richie Claus hissed as he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pitch, but if Santa can do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a minute or a moment or two. Or a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out to the fireplace blue, where the little Who's stockings were all hung. We're all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinched and grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present, pop guns, roller skates, drums, tricycle, and tukas and drums, checkerboards, whistles and horns, popcorn and plums. Then he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He even took the roast beast. He cleaned up that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. Now, grinned the Grinch. Stuff up the tree. You're utter, Mr. Grinch. You're the king of sinful thoughts. Your heart's a bit to mingle splotch, Ramon and purple spots, Mr. Grinch. You're a 3-decker sauerkraut and toast-roll sandwich with arsenic tomato sauce. And the Grinch grabbed and took the tree as he started to shove when he heard the small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou, who was no more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. He stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He talked about why? He sort of quick. Why, my sweet little tots. That's another word for daughter, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on the street that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop. That's Ben Washer's house, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. And his bib fooled the child. Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou was in right to bed with her cup, Crop went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar, and then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he snatched Kermit and put him in a stocking. On their walls he left nothing but hooks, some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's houses. It was 3:15. The words the fifth described are as follows, and I quote: "Stink, stank, 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 stank." It was dawn. All the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze. He packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappers, the tags, the tinsel, the snow and their puddles, the chambers, the trimmings and the trumpets. 10,000 feet, 10,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Boom, boom to the Who's. He was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. The mouths will hang open a minute or two. But then the Who's down. They will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So Tom, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear. And he did hear the sound rising over the snow. It started in low blue night. Then it started to glow pink day. But this sound wasn't sad. Why? This sound sounded glad. And it sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very! He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Whoa! I got Kermit in my eye, so I threw him out of my eye. When he shook, what he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, except Cindy Lou, who was still in bed, was singing without any presents at all. Max, can we let these Who's sing for a while instead of presents? Asked the Grinch. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came! Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinchy feet still ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled for 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? What did Whoville, they say? That the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. Doink! And then the true meaning of Christmas came through, and the Grinch found the stripe of 10 Grinches, plus 2. And now that his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his loads with a bright morning light, with a smile and a cinnamon crumpet, Germany blowing a song on his trumpet. He rode down a Whoville. He brought back their toys. He brought back all the food for the feast to the Who girls, except Cindy Lou's and boys. He brought back the snow and the chambers and puzzles. He brought back the Antukas, the Deathlers and Wuzzlers, and he brought back all the food and some food for the feast and some for Cindy Lou, who is still in bed. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Welcome Christmas. Bring your cheers. Cheer to all the Who's far and near. Christmas Day's in our grass, so long as we have hands to clap. Christmas Day will always be just as long as we welcome Christmas while we stand, heart to heart, hand in hand. Now for You're
Tyson,
the Turtle.
Tyson, Merry Christmas.